start streaming. Go live. And I think we're live. Hello. Hi, Sarah. How are you doing?
Hey, Ian.
Uh,
It's a bit of a craziness here, huh?
what? No warning? And hey, do you want to go live with me in 10 minutes? I don't understand.
Yeah, why would that be weird?
Yeah.
Oh, need to mute that. Okay.
Hello, everyone out there in Buffy and Passion of the Nerdland. I'm Ian. This is Sarah. You may recognize Sarah from such hits as Patron Hangout number 27 and Patron Hangout number 57, or your channel. Can you tell us a little bit about your channel?
Oh, right. I hate self-promotion. I occasionally make videos about costumes and stuff and Buffy sometimes. Uh, it's called the Costume Codex.
There it is.
Um, Right. Yes, I told you I'm not good at self-promotion. I'm currently working on a draft about the use of black and white. So that'll be up some month in future.
Yeah, I know that
Uh,
game. And what was your previous video that you got up? What can people go watch right now?
well, there was our epic Christmas Carol read, and before that I had a couple on Halloween, one about Babylon 5, and one about Frankenfurter.
And you've also done a couple on Buffy. You did the Tweed of Giles. Uh,
Yes, our man in tweed.
yeah.
And yeah, and I've done one about Star Trek 709 that's quite popular. My Buffy one just passed 5,000, actually, my very
Great.
first one.
Congratulations. Um, hi everybody. You are sitting in the patron hangout for not the patron hangout. You're sitting in the rewatch for No Place Like Home. After that, we're gonna take a little break, and then we'll be jumping into the patron hangout and discussing it, which is a stream in another link. You all know how this goes. Sarah, how's your January? How's 2021 kicking off for you?
Oh, God.
If you're watching this later, and I've already noticed some people have been watching the rewatches, it's January 2021. Uh, just for
And there
context.
are good days and there are bad
There
days.
are good days and there are, yeah. I just a quick update on the current state of the channel. I was taking a little 2 week break and doing some traveling in January, which turned into a 3 week break, thanks to some COVID complications, which turned into me moving to New York, which is why you see all my stuff piled in the blurry shot behind me. So, needless to say, the next video is probably going to be about a week late. On the early side, I'm physically exhausted, 2,000 miles away from home. A lot has changed in the past. It's been a weird January, and whenever Sir Jackalus returns from the land of the lost in Melbourne, Australia, we will, if you have any interest in personal stories, you're welcome to have a listen to it over on the podcast. But that's not what we're here for today. Sarah, No Place Like Home. What are your memories of
Yes.
this episode?
Glory, 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 hallelujah. I don't know, I love Glory. She's such a drag queen.
Yes.
And yeah.
This is the kick in the butt to the plot. Um, and we finally, or to the arc rather, not to the plot. And we get a little bit of glory, and we get a little bit of I mean, so this is 4 episodes into. We've had 4 episodes of just who is Dawn?
Yeah, there's this girl that's just there. And Buffy has a sister now.
Yeah, I think it's a It's kind of like it's a bizarrely unprecedented thing to do to your audience.
Yeah.
Um, I think it's so risky to piss your audience off, and just there have been one or two hints. I mean, I don't know if people were pissed, but I certainly was like, what? I fear change in all its forms. That's for certain. What about you?
Well, I had a weird experience because I actually started watching in season five.
Ah.
Because I started when it was airing, so you don't really get the DVDs of hey. So I started, I think, um a couple episodes after this one. I'm not sure when exactly. I think uh yeah. I just sort of started watching it when it was airing on the Space Channel, which is this awesome channel we had in Canada. I
You have
think
a
we still
channel
have. I
called
don't know. I don't have
the
cable.
Space Channel?
We
That's
don't.
awesome.
We do. Yeah, made by it was made by this guy who just made channels because he loved television. It was sort of the golden age of '90s television in Canada,
Huh.
and yeah, we had the Space Channel. We were very lucky.
That's pretty neat. Yeah, I watched everything sequentially. And I mean, Buffy's full of if you're coming to it at this stage in the game, Buffy's full of things to be spoiled. And so for instance, I knew about Joyce, but I did not know about Dawn. Um, and so this was definitely a real what? Huh? And then to not explain it for 3 or 4 episodes. There's a lot of stuff. I mean, we'll get into this in the patron hangout, but there's a lot of stuff in Mutant Enemy content that feels to me like the writers laughing at the audience. I know they're not, but
Hmm.
it's the Firefly joke where in Serenity, Kaylee's dead, and you get the slow motion shot of the Doctor running into the med bay, cut to the whole crew laughing at them. And I've always felt like that to me represented because the whole scene is played straight with really
Yeah.
sad music and slow motion and all of that. And I've always felt like that was the writers' room going, let's have a little fun. And I more than a number of other shows, I feel like Mutant Enemy does that a lot. And sometimes it works, and sometimes it goes on for a little long in my mind.
Yeah. It makes me think of the British expression "taking the piss."
Yes. Yeah. Very apt.
Yes, and very Buffy to use a British one. But yeah, sometimes it's like they're having fun with us, and sometimes they're a little bit like
Right.
think maybe the jokes on us.
Right.
But I mean, it's fun.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
It
it's
can be a
definitely
fun.
fun.
Most of the time, it's fun. I mean, Angel season 4, we know it became not fun.
Yeah. Was that a joke, or was that
Yeah, I don't know. Like misleading us.
yeah.
Sometimes it's for fun. Sometimes it's okay. Why are you doing this to us?
Yeah. Well, let's save the rest of the discussion for the patron hangout. If you
Yeah,
have not been to a rewatch before, we cannot stream the episode into on YouTube for you. That would be copyright violation. So go and get your copy. If you're watching this as a recording, go pause it, go get your copy, and you can sync up with us. I've included the playhead at the bottom of the window here with my time code and where I am in the episode. I think it's a little small, but again, I am piecing everything back together now after moving 2,000 miles. So give me a break. Okay.
and mine has a previously on. Does yours?
Let me check. No.
Okay, so how do we do
So
this?
you need to say go when you say feet. When you see feet. Okay?
Okay,
Not when you
nice
say feet.
feet.
Yeah, so anyone who has it previously on, yes, this is complicated, but this is the only way that I know how to do it without. I'm not going to fight studios for over this content. So Sarah's gonna say three, two, one, and then go, and then she's gonna say go when she sees feet, which is the beginning of the episode as I have it. So mine is from a DVD rip. Are you watching on Hulu?
I've got it on my on iTunes.
Oh,
I
got
the
it.
DVD rip is on the other computer.
Yeah. Um, yeah, so whatever version you're watching, we've got you covered both ways. And thank you for mentioning that. Hey, Beach Girl. Hey, everyone. Welcome, welcome. All right. So, Sarah, are you ready?
Okay, so for those of us with previously on,
All
3, 2, 1, go.
right. Previously on Buffy the Vampire Slayer. That's the worst Giles impression ever. And I'm waiting on feet.
And we're seeing Joyce collapse and Graham's face. Why?
Well, you know you don't belong here, right?
Yeah.
Come on, man. You're nothing here. This is my reenactment for people who
Oh,
don't
and
have the
let's
previous
remember that
line.
Riley was all weak and kidney. And the dream. Oh, that dream. And go.
Playing.
I'm not sure how well thought out the monks was.
What'd you say?
I'm not sure how thought their spell is.
Yeah.
It's very at convenient, but that gives us the story.
It definitely smacks a little bit of writing in the blanks. A little bit like the by the way, I'm getting a little bit of lag
Yeah.
on my end. But the angel cursivitis.
Yes. Although my headcanon for that is that the gypsy stereotype is or the Romani people didn't know what the spell was going to do, and then just like on the stereotype is one of those people who's like, nope, I knew it all along. This is totally the plan.
Yeah.
Anyway, I love Buffy's coat here.
She looks fabulous. It reminds me a little bit of the Never Kill a Boy on the First Date coat, which was more on the gaudy mall side,
Ooh, yes.
and and is missing the hood. But why would you hide that hair?
Well, yeah, totally. But she does have a fabulous collection of coats for someone who lives in a pretty warm climate. Do you remember raving?
I never raved. Oh, come on, Sarah. You know I never raved.
I'm more golf club than rave, but
Never was much of a raver.
Oh, come on. I could see you at a rave. Yes, I know, which is why it would be hilarious.
Man, this episode is so chunky. Starting in the middle of it, here's a ball for
Yeah.
no reason, and then seems like it's going to be an important plot element. And they literally, at the end of the season, go, "Oh, we've got that ball thing."
Well, I mean, it's Chekhov's ball. It does go off in the third act. It's just kind of not got a huge amount of significance other than Chekhov's ball. I do love this the
I
opening
do.
music.
It's a warm blanket theme. Late Paul, it's so shiny. It is indeed. Uh, Boris, it just depends on where they were keeping it.
Plus, she wasn't there very long.
Also, just makes her fuzzy, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, she wasn't trying to do anything. Okay, speaking of great coats,
Oh, the robe.
the denim jacket. No,
Oh,
the
the denim
denim
jacket.
jacket.
Yeah.
Sorry, this isn't Sarah notices all the pretty clothes. Okay, it might be Sarah notices
I
all the pretty clothes.
I enjoy the fact that everyone who hangs out with me brings a different perspective. I love it. Russell, uh, and I have one button working currently,
The dance of capitalist
and it's
superiority.
not set up correctly. Here, Russell, let me fix that. Hold on. Once more with feeling.
The dance of capitalist superiority.
The Dance of Capitalist Superiority. Thank you, Russell. Russell says, "Glad to see you back. Always enjoy these. This episode, to me, is the start of something great, and I mean great material." I agree. I love where the season goes, and this season has my favorite finale. Um, just
Oh
kind of
yeah,
clunky, and there's lots of good stuff in the episode. It just is a little clunky for me. That's all.
yeah. You can there's good material, but you can see the seams.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Okay, that was a bit yeah, me using a
I
metaphor there.
don't never apologize.
Um,
Buffy mothering her mom here. Yeah. Why did YouTube censor that?
yeah, it's very sweet. I don't know
Oh,
why does YouTube censor half the stuff.
and then doesn't censor other
The
stuff.
magic box.
Is this a weird joke? Is she being mean? I never know how to take this scene. He looks so cute, and
I
she gives him nothing. Come on.
I love it.
Give him a courtesy
Does he
laugh,
want to be
something.
cute?
Well, I mean that's
Yeah,
the
but in real life it'd be mean, but I just love it as a sequence.
that's the happy Halloween in the sombrero scene.
He does
Yeah.
love a hat. And who doesn't love a good hat?
Reminds me of the awkward silence that Team Angel gives Nabbit. Except it's Giles. Give him a hug. Good job, Giles.
Yeah, Giles needs an emotional support person.
Yeah, yeah. He needs something. Needs some kind of supporting
Yeah.
relationship. I mean, that would be interesting if I wonder if there's fan fiction out there about Giles's life when he's not with the Scoobies. Given that every fan fiction exists, I'm sure that does.
Yeah. Yeah, I am sure it does. I'm sure it's very dirty. It's probably people inserting themselves as does Giles's person.
Yeah, which I get.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's so shiny.
He's so eager.
No, I didn't.
See, this is why I love Dawn, because I'm the person who'd say something stupid like that.
Well, she reminds me. I heard
Read the room.
one of the complaints about Anya early on was she felt like such a Cordy replacement. Tax is just not saying true stuff. Um, but
Hmm.
there's a sweet innocence to it when Dawn does it. But yeah, not being able to read the room.
Yeah,
Anya's a bulldozer.
yeah. Which, you know, but you need them in different moments, and we don't we all want to be little pumpkin belly sometimes.
Sometimes. I see Beach Girls having trouble with the stream. Is everyone having trouble with the stream, or are you able to see us? Give me some feedback, if you would. Sarah and I are lagging a little bit between each other, but I'm just checking if the internet connection is in this new location is holding well enough for me. Kitsune says I'm good. All right. Can see you fine. All right.
Yeah. Yeah, this is less than ideal, but we're doing our best. The theme of 2021.
Yeah, we're getting it done.
Oh, people are having trouble with my lag. Oh well.
Oh, yeah. Well, there's nothing we can do about that.
And another floppy-haired
Yeah. Well,
kind of cardboard.
sort of the definitive one, right? I find him much more egregious than Riley. Riley is at least an attempt at. I like Marcus Blucas does a wonderful job with what he's given. You know, Riley has some bits that I identify with, even if they're, oh, come on, dude, you can do better than that. Ben's just a nothing burger to me.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the writers thought they were doing something with Riley, whereas I think they kind of know they aren't really doing anything with Ben.
If Ben's supposed
He's
to be the
just a
little
chip.
bad, yeah.
Sort of the misdirect.
I like Riley fine.
I don't, but that's okay.
I think
Sometimes I sympathize with him.
You're in good company. I've just developed a soft spot for him. I think he's easy to hate.
Yeah, I don't hate him anymore, but yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Complicated.
I mean, given the choice between
Ooh, I love this entrance.
Angel, Spike, or Riley, I know which one third is all I'm going to say.
Oh, don't. Ooh, yes, I love this entrance.
Yeah,
I love this look.
That's a classic.
Second best entrance in the series. Best entrance is I'd like that theory.
Thank you, McKenna. I appreciate the kind word. Did you see that?
Ooh. If Xander was Glory's vassal. That could have been interesting.
Ben to me feels like they structured the metaphor and had bits and pieces that they needed to fill in order to make the structure of the metaphor work. and then said, well, we'll develop him along the way. We know we need him because he's a rough Ben and Glory is kind of a rough parallel to Buffy and Dawn. You've got that structure and humanity side versus Slayer side, and so on and so forth. But then they forgot to put the character in, or just did not find room
he is
for it
just
along the
kind
way.
of a default dude.
Yeah, but they do that a lot where you can tell there was this very beautiful, complex metaphor structured to start with and then worked backwards from there. Um, and sometimes you end up with a Ben in the mix. The mayor, until he got in proximity with Faith, to me felt like a Ben, felt like a nothing kind of felt like a checkbox, a piece that was holding the structure of the theme together. But then that character came in late in the relationship to Faith. I mean, Harry Groener did a wonderful job. And I think he's very endearing, but he was a cartoon. There was no depth to him for me until he had a relationship to sort of bounce back and forth off of and see the depth there. But Ben can't play off Glory. He physically cannot play off Glory.
Yeah. I like the mayor from the beginning. I think that sort of his we don't get a lot of character growth until Faith is there, but I think there's a lot there, and maybe it's Groening's acting that I respond to.
He's terrific. Yeah.
And also the fact that I really like Mr. Trick. So you get the sort of
you do have Mr. Trick.
Mr. Trick.
I always forget about Mr. Trick until he shows up. Because the switch and putting Faith in his place feels like a little bit of a left turn. And it's an improvement, but Mr. Trick's still terrific.
Yeah. I do love her performance here. Like, I know there's a lot to be said about, fictional portrayals of mental illness and everything. But I think it's not, I think we go, her crazy is not mental illness crazy. It's
fantasy crazy.
Weird. It's fiction crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's one place where I feel like the fantasy card, if Buffy wants to play the fantasy card there, it works. The season, there's one episode where their treatment of mental illness does not for me, and that's Listening to Fear. But the rest of the time, the fantasy card plays fine for me.
Okay.
That's again, they went a little too grounded with it, a little too dark, and wanted to have it both ways, where it's fantasy or it's commentary, and I just think at that point then all of the criticisms of the portrayal are applicable then.
Yeah. I think it's one of those things like when you're trying to stretch what genre can do.
Right.
It's going to be messy sometimes.
Sure.
But like that's you're also like that's so much better than just doing what it's always done.
I always appreciate an attempt.
Yeah.
I'm messing with. There we go.
But she's like, I love Glory as this pure self-centered narcissism. Just absolutely nothing but self-centered.
Lorna says Glory's victims equal brain scramble crazy rather than mental illness.
Okay, that's a way to think of it.
What?
I mean, my mental illness has never started with, glowy lights.
Imagine being a powerful hell god trapped in a man's body. You'd go insane for sure.
Yeah, who wants to be in a man's body anyway?
Well,
So much less fun.
Well, many things spring to mind, but it's a family show.
Yes, and I always stretch the limits of that. But this is why I say she's a drag queen. She gets to sort of, she gets just the performance of gender.
Do you think they were trying to comment on either drag or trans
No,
trans
I don't
story,
think they were
or
trying for that.
but they ended up doing it by accident, and there's something to be taken away from it there that's fun.
I think Buffy was always playing with gender, but a lot of the stuff isn't what comes out isn't what they necessarily intended, which is, I mean, that's kind of what happens when you play with gender. You get unknown stuff.
Yeah.
And like when I say drag is completely separate from trans.
Oh no, I know.
Drag is about the performativeness of gender.
Yeah.
It's performance in its purest form, which is different than lived experience, but also performance is fun.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I asked that question knowing that the writers themselves admitted they were guilty of bi erasure with Willow at some point. They just forgot about it. I think was what I read, or oopsied into it, let alone topics of drag or trans issues or any of that, which are distinct. I didn't mean to muddle the two of those together.
Oh yeah, I didn't think you did, but wanted to make sure we didn't do that accidentally, because like things happen accidentally. And why have I suddenly lost sound on my Buffy?
I'm not sure. Can you turn on subtitles?
I did.
All right.
That's weird. Can we pause for a second? Probably not.
Probably not. Yeah. For the
okay, I'm gonna
sake of the recording.
Okay, so apparently I'm gonna have to go with soundless Buffy.
Sorry about that. Again,
it's crashed. Okay. I'm gonna be slightly off. Yeah, my iTunes crashed.
Well, I can tell you what scene we're in whenever you want to. You get it back up again.
Okay, I'm looking at Monsieur Snickers. She's talking about. So I'm at 2146.
She just poured the stuff out on her bedroom floor to do the spell to see the stuff.
Okay,
and
I will.
Riley's kneeling down. I like this scene.
Okay, I'm at 2233 now. Is that close enough?
Well, given you have that's close enough. Given you have the previous Leon and I don't, your time code's going to be a little different.
Of course.
Yeah. Magic.
We're just doing our best here. We're not
spooky Santa.
Very much not potential.
It's 2021, and I moved. And it wouldn't be one of my streams without technical difficulties.
True. Okay. But yes, I also like this scene with the discussing the not being super powered anymore stuff.
I'm really okay. He lies.
Yeah. And I think they think they're having very different conversations. The we agree to take care of each other thing, I think he's expecting a bit different than she is.
Oh, that's a good catch.
Because these two are never having the same conversation.
Yeah. I don't know. She definitely, I don't know. To call it intimacy issues when you're 20 years old, I mean, everyone's just
you don't have intimacy issues when you're 20 years old.
Exactly. Everyone's just figuring things out and doing the best they can all the time. I'm sure when I'm 60, I'm going to look at my years as a 40-year-old and be like, man, I had so much to learn. Um, so it's easy to look
Yes.
back at this and go, talk about your feelings. Just have a conversation.
Inshallah, we'll be 60-year-olds looking back at our 40s. If
Yeah.
knock on wood. Just the bratty little sister of it all. But I was a bratty little sister, so
My sisters were rebellious, and I was incapable of telling a lie. So that was a poor combination for them. I was the youngest, and essentially, whenever they did anything, if I knew about it, I would tell our parents. Which, hey, if my sisters are listening, I'm sorry. That must not have been fun to grow up with.
My sister was the high achiever type, and the perfectionist, and I was a brat. But also, like, she would study for ages and ages and ages to get it right, and in a lot of things I would kind of luck into it. So Hannah, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Didn't work so well once we got older. Things paid off way more for her.
That whole dynamic, I think, it really makes Dawn a helpful addition for Buffy's character. There's a little bit more,
Totally.
A lot of times Joyce felt like Lonnie refers to it as the conflict vending machine, where Joyce's only purpose is there to Joyce often doesn't feel natural in the first 3 seasons. She feels at the whim of whatever the episode needed her to do. This relationship with Dawn feels completely natural to me. It feels the way it would be for these two characters at this age, given the circumstances. And so it's a nice... at this point in Buffy's life where she kind of has everything figured out and everything has gotten very easy for her and she's sort of mastered the Slayer thing, and on top of to bring this in now, I feel like is a really great addition for the sake of Buffy's character, to have more to do, to have more conflict, and for it to feel the way this relationship would have.
Yeah, totally. Joyce very much parents at the necessity of plot.
Yeah.
And Dawn is always just Dawn.
Dawn's just Dawn.
I mean, we get a bit of Dawn's at the necessity of plot in season 6.
Sure. I strictly speaking about season 5 Dawn.
Yeah, season 5 Dawn. Yeah, I think they're doing a thing and they do it really well, and I love Trachtenberg's performance. I mean, she doesn't necessarily always feel like the age that she is, but she feels very much like what a little sister feels like.
Right. And what are we talking about in season 6? The shoplifting? Is that the contrivance?
I mean, there's a few things.
The shoplifting never bothered me.
Yeah, they don't pay it off quite so well, and
it doesn't pay off well. But everyone's doing things to feel in season 6, and her sort of stealing to feel something to me kind of works.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's just there. I'm trying to watch the episode and think of instances in season 6.
Oh yeah, of course.
I think you're better at multitasking than me. But there are moments where it feels kind of awkward and forced. In 6, but I think in 5 it works for me. And they're playing around with so many things in season 6. Not every ball is gonna land.
There's so much good stuff in this episode, but it does not feel like an episode. Does that make sense? This feels like many different pieces, some of which work, some of which are great, A couple that are not so good, but it doesn't really. What is the plot of this episode?
That's true. It's like several episodes sort of layered on top of each other.
Yeah. There's not a clear goal in the episode. There's not it's just kind of all over the place.
Yeah,
I, and
I'm
it's
not very
well
good
it,
at.
it's well
I'm
supported by the I would watch any of these characters sit at the DMV phenomena that Buffy has created at this point, where I'm like, yeah, sure, an episode where we hang out and do nothing. Okay, I love Restless.
Yeah. I'm not so good at that. You're so good at looking at the episodes in a vacuum and like looking at them individually. I'm always seeing them in the continuance of the
In
whole thing.
context, right?
And this one has such vital like connective tissue.
It
Yeah,
does.
maybe it's more connective tissue than
Yeah,
there should
yeah.
be in a
I mean,
single episode.
that's a big problem with Buffy with arcy episodes is them sort of struggling with individual identity versus the identity of the season. Where I think that because then this episode disappears into the arc of the season versus the ones that everyone remembers, Earshot or Band Candy, or people remember. I love that bit about the season 5 arc, or they remember those specific episodes. And I think that other arcs, it's just a weird. These hybrid arc episodic shows really have a tough road to haul. What does this house saying go?
True. Oh, and here we get one of the most iconic scenes in Buffy.
Yeah, again, there's so much good stuff in this. Hello, Buffy. Oh, I missed doing the reading.
Out for a walk, bitch. Okay, how many times in our lives have we been the person to be like, it's between parts and parts? Yeah, I totally have a reason to be here.
Other parts.
Yeah. But of course, whenever he's on the defensive, he goes kind of, yeah. Just ending it with "you have stupid hair."
He doesn't know how to drop the mic. You have
it's like
stupid hair.
I am 100 and some, and also 5.
Spike tried to kill Buffy and Riley in only the last episode. Yeah. At some that we had that discussion 2 weeks ago. At some point, I gotta wonder, why doesn't she kill him?
Plot armor.
Yeah. Or
but also
enemy
like
writer's room armor.
But also like as much as he is a pain in the ass, I think she sees him as a person. As an incredibly annoying person who's always trying to kill her. But I think it'd be harder to dust someone you do kind of see as a person.
I'm in season 8 of Supernatural, and Supernatural does Tara, actress's name. I'm terrible with names. Actress's name, Tara.
Amber Benson?
Amber Benson, thank you. Amber Benson makes an appearance on Supernatural as a vampire who has quit drinking, who only drinks animal blood, which is just, now that I say it out loud, is a little Twilighty. But Supernatural goes so heavy on the horror aspect of things. It kind of reminds me of Spike. So if she does like Spike or see him as a human, how does that not induce a moral or ethical problem for her with all the other vampires she does spike. I mean, yes, or she does slay.
I think we can. If there's one thing we can say about our girl Buffy, it's that she's good at compartmental. I cannot
Compartmentalizing.
speak. Compartmentalizing. Yes, apparently I cannot speak words. Um, if because they'd have that same. She's been having that same issue with Angel from the beginning.
Yeah.
I love the "I'm not stupid." Oh, these two.
Sure about that?
By the way, the vampire that doesn't drink blood. My favorite instance of that is Terry Pratchett's Discworld, where the vampires belong to the League of Temperance, and so they're black ribboners. They won't touch a drop. It's really quite funny. But what they do is they always replace it with something else. So there's a character, there's a vampire whose blood obsession has been replaced with photography.
Huh.
It's in a book called The Truth, which is one of the best books I've ever read.
Would you like a job?
Yay. Our girl Anya has found her place.
Oh, her look of satisfaction. It's so adorable.
Yeah, it's totally adorable. They are to get a couple of very talented stunt women for this.
Yeah.
You can't go around hitting people like I've just been doing to you.
That's so cool.
Yeah, and just the choreography is awesome. It's so, it's not elegant in any way.
No, well, yeah, it's definitely the boxer style that they were going for this season.
Yeah,
I do miss the martial arts, to be honest. I love the like you said, I love the elegance of some of the earlier fights.
Yeah,
nothing beats a good spin kick.
But I love that Glory fights differently than Buffy does.
Yeah, for sure.
There's nothing like losing your favorite pair of heels. That just slows me down for days. I don't know. It's actually been ages since I've worn heels.
One thing that always distracts me in these fights, and this is the nitpick of all nitpicks, the definitive nitpick, is them throwing each other. You know that how so often these fights begin with one of them grabbing the other one by the shirt and tossing them across the room.
Yeah, it's totally performance fighting. It's not an
action. Yeah. Where if Glory actually just punched someone, she would punch through them. So it's a necessary bit of choreography because you cannot just have a god punching someone in the face because their face would just go away. And they do that in the end of Angel when Illyria punches through. Finally, no throw. that would happen every time. So whenever I see someone getting thrown, I'm kind of like, ugh. It takes me out of the fight for just a second because it's that visual reminder of the dance more than
Yeah,
the story. Do you know what I mean?
that's fair. I think it would be a very different show if they showed the violence more real. It would be more like The Boys, which you
Well, for
probably haven't
sure,
seen
for
yet.
sure.
Um,
And that's not what I'm looking for. I don't want that. It's just for
the
some
balance
reason,
somewhere
yeah,
is just doesn't quite always get there.
for
Yeah.
some reason, once I noticed, like, I thought to myself, why do they throw each other so much? And I realized it was just because you cannot have your characters punching through each other, and yet that's what would be happening. Um, I've never been able to roll that thought back for some reason.
I think maybe I've spent more time in theater and I just kind of go with it.
Yeah, yeah,
I love this scene with the when she learns what Dawn is.
his performance here carrying this intimacy of the explanation, I think, is so beautiful.
And Sarah's face, like the
Yeah,
way that she registers the sort of paradigm shift and sort of trauma of like realizing your memories have been messed with.
yeah. There's so much emotion in this little exchange. I think it's really well done.
Yeah. And just like his the way he performs his death as well is just so I don't know, I really appreciate the it's a small role, but I really appreciate what he does with it.
Yeah, it's a nice little performance from them both. Distracting from the fact that the monks are maybe the actual big bads of season 5, but we can talk about that
they
in the
are
hangout.
they're definitely the sort of element of chaos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Zora Hart. She doesn't know that has always struck to me has delivered amazingly. Dance of
The
Capitalist
dance of capitalist
Superiority.
superiority.
Do-do-do-do-do. Thank you for the donation, user. Yeah, I love his performance there. I think it's terrific.
Yeah, on Shell Pity, yeah, the knights are a problem. I think we'll get to the knights. I'm sure Ian will cover the knights.
Yeah.
We'll just ignore them for now.
Yeah, we don't need to talk about the Knights. Why would we talk about the Knights? It's funny how season 5 has so many highs, and yet, I mean, it's to me why it's not really my favorite season. And yet, my favorite season is 6, which people complain about endlessly. So who knows?
Yeah, I don't really do favorite seasons.
That's good. I think that's a good policy.
This last scene, I think, is one of my favorite, like, small scenes in all of Buffy.
No.
Just, like, I think just how awkward it is to have a conversation with. Yeah.
Yeah, I love you can't even take an apology. You always, and then she has that moment of realization right there.
Yeah. And it speaks to the way, like, I don't know about you, but I find like every conversation with family, you sort of feel like there's every other conversation you've had with the family in the room with you.
Yeah. Well, there's an interesting thing to be read there about living in the present and sort of as opposed to the story that we keep, whether our memories are true or not. That I think is really, really nice and part of what this entire season is about.
But I also like I love the touch, the way that she
Yes.
does the hair thing.
Yeah.
That's just like, yeah. That's how my mom does Yeah, it's very sweet. Well, that's an episode with lots of highs and maybe
Yeah.
not enough plot for you.
It just does. Well, there's a lot of arc plot. It just doesn't really have an identity in and of itself.
Yeah.
That's the thing is yeah, I don't know, and it makes me wonder too if the what is this, the 22, 24 episode season format
Hmm.
would work as if it was all pure arc, or if it would just feel too slow and contrived. Whatever. I think arc shows work great in a 12 episode format or less than that, as the BBC does. Which is it's almost like the BBC says, "How long does this show need to be? 5 episodes? Okay, go ahead." Um, yeah, I don't know. Purely episodic has its own problems as well. I think Next Generation seasons kind of which is my purest access to episodic television in my
Hmm.
memory. Kind of what happens is the seasons tend to lack identity beyond the cliffhangers. So in my mind,
Yeah.
I remember seasons 3 and 4 because the Best of Both Worlds Part 1 and 2. The rest, do I know what season The Inner Light was in, or well, I know Measure of a Man because of the collars. That's a weird thing with Next Generation is the collar change in Riker's beard in season 1 and 2. But
Yeah.
I don't know. It's interesting, right?
Yeah, it's difficult because I think sometimes the short seasons feel like things don't get developed enough. I had that experience with Picard,
Hmm.
the show. I thought a lot of it worked for me, but there were a lot of elements that needed more development or to be cut out. Because the BBC does makes the short seasons, but they also like they don't there's sort of they do less well, whereas a lot of shows sort of can't find that balance,
Yeah,
and so you'll
yeah.
get yeah. I mean, to me, the best example um of the arc of the season arc working would be season 3 of Babylon 5. Um, but uh, what made that show work differently was like the entire thing was planned before they even started filming.
Yeah, yeah.
um,
I'll, ne-
so
I'll,
yeah.
I'll never forget Harry Groener saying in an interview that Joss was writing parts of Graduation Day on set while they were filming the scene before it and would hand them pages to be filmed immediately. Um,
Hmm.
I mean, just speaking of that, before or after construction, before or
Yeah.
during construction, and I think Buffy definitely, um, at times you can definitely feel the that going on, and you get episodes like this that are connective with great bits, but again just sort of feel necessary more than fun. I would say.
Yeah, I think it's there's a question in there of like writers finding the way that works for them.
Yeah, yeah.
And yeah, Buffy gets to some amazing places.
It does
So I think
indeed.
it's okay if sometimes the connective tissue gets a little
Well, I mean
chunky along the way.
ultimately that's the response to any discussion is like taken as a whole. I mean we have all these granular discussions about the pieces taken as a whole. Does it amount to something? And Lord, does Buffy
Oh
amount to
God, yeah.
something for sure. So, but it just is. I think it's interesting. Well, Sarah, thank you for your
Yeah,
time. Can you
no worries.
let us know your YouTube channel again?
Oh, it's Costume Codex. Um, I talk about Buffy occasionally. I talk about costumes and stuff, or sometimes I just go on a tangent.
Russell, I know I can say this later, but you should really give DS9 another try. I know.
The dance of capitalist
Capitalist
superiority.
superiority. Thank you, Russell. I appreciate the donation.
Well,
Um,
you should watch everything,
yes,
absolutely everything. In the
I'm currently watching Korra, The West Wing, and Supernatural to get to the seasons in Supernatural that I haven't seen. which would be 12 through 15. So I will take a swing, Russell. I want to watch it. But let's go. Let's go ahead and wrap up there. I want to take a little break
Yeah,
before
let's.
we get into the patron hangout, which will be in about 20, 30 minutes. Sarah, thank you for your time. Thank you everyone for joining, and we'll see you in a little bit.
Okay.